Good morning. Well, afternoon, everyone. Everyone who's out there. Just gonna wait a minute. I got on a minute early. And I apologize ahead of time for anybody who's listening. My cat is acting a little wild right now, so you might hear some random background noises. He's running amok, tearing things up. The last meeting I was on, he jumped on my face. So if that happens, I apologize. How's everybody doing this morning? Anybody out there? Hoping today will be a better day than it was yesterday. I'm going to start it off on a better note, hopefully. It has so far, so that's a plus to everything going on. I'm finding myself really struggling with a routine, though. I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at, 10:30 this morning, and that's just not my norm. So I find myself really struggling with a routine. I'm glad that I have like a few things that happen on the ROCovery page throughout the day and other meetings that I attend, to keep some sort of structure in my life. But thus far, that's one of the biggest things that I'm struggling with is sticking to a routine and going to sleep. And, I'm stagnant most of the day. So I feel like that contributes to me sitting awake all night long. But just a little food for thought before we get this thing started, sticking to that routine. Even if you have to force yourself getting up out of bed and stuff, I know that I'm going to have to force myself to go to sleep tonight and force myself to wake up early tomorrow. Because I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good that I was sleeping or was up all night long and then woke up super late. I missed a couple meetings this morning that I would have liked to be a part of. So, hi, James. Nice to see you on here. I hope you're doing okay. All right. So, right before I got on here, I picked a card for the day. And today it said beauty. If any of you don't know what that is, or what these are, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, these are intention cards is what they're called. Somebody bought them for me for Christmas. Hi, Yana. And they have a bunch of cards in them. And you kind of meditate and, shuffle through them in the morning. Put all the stuff that you're thinking into the forefront of your mind. For me, that's been a plethora of different things over this last week. It's been relationships and what we're going through in society, finances, sobriety, things like that I've put to the forefront of my mind and shuffled through these for a couple minutes. And then I pull one out and, I try to find a way to connect that to my day. And today it said beauty, and yesterday was really hard for me. As some of you saw, I had a mental breakdown on my video yesterday. I was very emotional. I was in a really dark place, but today I'm trying to find the beauty in all of this, and keep reminding myself of all those things that I've been talking about for a week now, all the things that I'm grateful for, which is, connection on here, doing these videos, my coworkers doing all their videos, and my ability to stay connected with them throughout this, and all the different meetings that I'm doing online. I've connected with people all over the country so far, and I hope to connect more. I see this heading in a direction that it's probably going to get worse, I'm sure. But at the same time, I feel like our community is going to grow so much from this. So I'm just trying to find the beauty in the things that aren't necessarily ideal today. Like I touched on just a few minutes ago. Like my routine is all over the place. I don't have one. I feel very unstructured and, very scattered all over the place and, slothish, lazy. But at the same time, I have time. I have time. That's what I have. I have time to connect. I have time to sit with myself and work on things. I have time to connect with my cat who's tearing up something right now. I have time to do those things at this point right now. we aren't completely locked down. So I have the ability to go walk. I have the ability to do my laundry, all these little things that I can find some sort of solitude in and some sort of peace in throughout this. So today is a much better day than it was yesterday, and I hope it keeps going from there. And I know that for me, like I hit points where it's not great sometimes, and it looks like it did yesterday, and I'm a mess, and I can't stop crying, and I can't pinpoint that one thing that's triggering all of it. But for me, I found if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I reach out to people and I talk about things and I feel it, and I just don't pick up. I don't go back to old behaviors, hopefully, that, it'll get better from there, And I was talking to a really good friend of mine last night, and one of the things that she actually pointed out to me throughout the things that I was sharing with her that I'm going through is that, I'm making different choices today, and they're not comfortable. They're not. I don't like to be alone. I don't like to sit with myself. I like to have another person right there at all times. But for me today, I've made those choices to eliminate that from my life, at least for now, and yeah, I'm grateful for that. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what the deciding factor really was in that, but I know that I'm grateful for it today. And me saying I'm grateful for it doesn't mean that it's easy. It's not, it's not. But with my support and with everything else going on in my life and with God, I can get through those things. And I feel better. I feel better in the long run. And I think that's something I have to remind myself of, is not looking at just right now, right now, or this moment, or how I feel right now, but looking at the bigger picture and, the long-term effects of things that I'm doing or things that I might feel. So we're going to jump in here. I've talked for like 7 minutes already about nonsense. But so the first reading that I do every day is in God's care. It's not, based on any 12-step program. It's about recovery and God. I'm a very, very spiritual human being. And I've touched on this before, but just for anybody who hasn't listened to me before, I came into the program very religious. I was Catholic, and that's changed a lot over the last 2 years, I would say. Today what my higher power looks like, I call him God, but it's not necessarily religious. It's very spiritual. It's humans, music, nature, little signs here and there, like this word that got brought up today, the irony of different things that happen or conversations that I have. That's my higher power today, and I choose to call him God. And I do believe in God as a person. But I don't, necessarily, I'm not religious anymore. It's changed a lot throughout my recovery and my journey of seeking what my higher power is, and not what everybody else says it should be, or what I thought it should be. I can't really put that on someone else at the end of the day, if I'm being quite honest with myself. Like I believed that I should be religious, that I should have the same God as my partner at the time. But that's changed, that's changed a lot over the course of time, and that's okay. Like I always say from the get-go with these discussions that I have, please replace the word God if you need to. I have a lot of friends that it's the universe, it's nature, it's people that have passed on, things like that they consider their higher power. So by all means, replace this, and in God's care can be replaced with whatever you want to fill it in with. Just knowing that there's something out there that's more powerful than you are, and it has some sort of control over what's going on in your life, and that you're not the one that's in control. You're not the one that's making these decisions, making these little coincidences happen. All right. So we're pulling, I'm pulling the same idea that I had yesterday. I haven't read any of these. So it's going to be very impromptu and in the moment. The only thing I did prior to coming on this video was pick one of my cards. I have not looked at these. I have no idea what they say. So we're going to do it together. And please, like, if you guys have any comments or anything you want to say, please say it. You know, the purpose of me being on here isn't 100% for me. You know, it is for me in a lot of ways, but it's also for you guys. You know, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think, how you feel, what you're going through, anything. I will stop what I'm doing and address any comments that come in. So please, you know, comment, laugh. I don't care what happens over here in this comment box. Whatever you need to do. All right. So March 21st. I don't know what day it is. That's the other part of this. I have no idea what day it is because I have no structure. So, all right, March 21st. We are here and it is now. Further than that, all human knowledge is moonshine. That's a quote from H.L. Mencken. Every single day, scientists disprove something that was once an unquestioned fact. Today's fact is tomorrow's fable. Today's cure is tomorrow's malpractice suit. We live in an ever-changing world where nothing stays the same, with one exception. Throughout the centuries, people have undergone spiritual transformations that were mysteriously alike. Isaiah, Buddha, Socrates, Muhammad, Roger Bacon, Spinoza, Balzac, and Walt Whitman are among those whose transformations we can read about. The descriptions told by countless others of us who have experienced spiritual transformations are also strikingly similar. Across the centuries, God's loving impact on human consciousness has remained steady. I put my faith in a steadfast God. There's Serenity. Hi, baby. So I guess one of the first things that comes to mind with that, please don't. I'm sorry. Please don't step on there. Get down. One of the things that comes to mind is that, you know, it says in here, an ever-changing world where nothing stays the same. Nothing does stay the same, you know, and I think that we all can relate in the fact that, you know, and I'm very sick of talking about the same thing over and over again, but it is our reality today. You know, we can relate in the fact that right now what we're going through, it's ever changing and it's unknown. You know, it's something that none of us have control over. But the one thing that stays constant is whatever this higher power is that's working in your life. You know, whatever puts the bills in place or, you know, gives you that sense of peace throughout the day, connects you with another human, you know, on whatever level, whether it's home workouts, daily meditations, you know, running, whatever the case might be, but connects you with another person. Those things stay consistent in our lives. You know, like I was touching on this morning, my routine is through the roof and all over the place. But the one thing that stayed constant throughout this is God, first and foremost, but also my supports are still there and we still have the same conversations. It might look different, but those things are still showing up in my life throughout all of this. I've said it before, I've been on lockdown, I guess, in a way for 8 days now. And, you know, a lot of things have happened in those 8 days, you know, a lot of changes and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear. But the one thing that stayed constant is a sense of peace, a sense of gratitude. Even in my meltdown yesterday, I could still find those moments of peace, you know, and that's not me. I'm not doing that because if I'm left to myself at the end of the day, I'm going to prepare for the apocalypse, which I talked about last night. You know, I'm going to, you know, go out and do panic buy and do all these things. And I'm going to shut people out and I'm going to binge watch Netflix and ignore my cell phone, you know, but with the help of something greater than me, I've stayed connected. I've had those conversations. I have, you know, found a random sense of peace in the manner of what I'm cooking every day, laundry that I'm doing, talking with my cat, because that's who I have at the moment, you know, things like that. You know, it's really about those little things. And I'm sure continuously talk about them. But, a lot of us don't have the ability like the rest of these people did, where our testimony and our spiritual journey is documented, but we can talk about it with one another. My spiritual journey has been up and down, left and right. It's been hard at times. It's been hurtful at times, but the one thing is that it's been consistent. It's always been something else showing up in my life when I couldn't or didn't have the ability to do so. When I didn't have the ability to see the peace in things or have gratitude or connect to people or, take care of myself and my cat the way that I should be doing. My higher power has shown up and helped me and guided me and given me the strength to do those things, because I know for me that I don't have that in me sometimes. Sometimes I just don't, and that's okay. That's where my higher power works through other people and gives me that motivation that I need, gives me the strength to keep going, gives me the guidance that I need in whatever aspect. I pray every day for guidance. And it looks different every day. And like I said, it's a plethora of topics. But some days it might be like, what do I do? What do I do today? And I just ask for guidance. How do I stay sober today? Ask for guidance. It's definitely one of the things that stays constant in my life, is asking for guidance. And I think I touched on this yesterday, is I don't know the answer to those things most of the time. And sometimes I might never know the actual answer, because I'm a very analytical and factual human being. I want to see it in black and white, so it was really hard for me to believe in those minor coincidences that I talk about. It's really hard for me to believe that my higher power is coming through other humans. I'm sure that some of you can relate to that. It's hard for me to actually fathom that something is working in my life that I can't see, touch, feel, any of it. But the more that I have stayed mindful of those things and paid attention to them, and knowing that coincidences aren't just coincidences, they're happening for a reason, the more that my spirituality has grown, and we, like I said, we're not as blessed to have those things documented, but we can share it with each other, and we can talk about it in ways like this. Chelsea talks about it, Brian brings his meditation, John brings his walks, and that's all of us sharing our version of what our spirituality is, and a lot of people get caught up that it, like I did in the beginning, that it has to look a certain way, or, it has to look like yours, or my spirituality isn't good enough because it doesn't look like theirs. And that's not true. If you just look at our Facebook page, each one of us has our own version of what we're bringing to the table, right? And that's what our spirituality is, that is exactly what our spirituality is. Mine looks like this. John's is running. Brian's is meditation and working out and doing classes with people. Chelsea's is looking in these deeper readings and going on about it. We all have something different, and we all connect in a different way. But the one thing that stays constant is that it's something that's better than, or greater than us, not better, excuse that, but greater than us, and something that we believe in outside of ourselves. I don't have control of this. All right. So on to the next reading. The next one is Jesus Calling. This book has been a concrete factor in my life since I came home from prison. Actually, I think I used my first one when I was in prison the first time, or not the first time, but I think I got my first version of this book when I was still in prison, and I started reading it every day about 4 or 5 months prior to me coming home. When I came home, it's remained a constant on my stand. At one point, it was a nightstand. and now it's become a coffee table because, I've been blessed to upgrade to an entire apartment here. But one of my friends actually bought me this specific one, and I already had one, but that to me was another sign, like, to keep using this. Again, one of those little coincidences. I've read through this once already, but I don't remember every single reading that I've done. I continue to use it. This is a devotion written by Sarah Young is her name. And what she does, she explains it in the beginning, is that she sits and she did sit and meditate in the period of writing this book every day for 365 days. And she wrote whatever came to her mind and on her heart. So I love this version of things. I love the raw, this is my interpretation of God, or this is my interpretation of what you need to hear today. I'm more of a person who's vulnerable, raw, and matter of fact. I will take that over anything every day. I love this book, but at the same time, it was written and published by God knows who. I like the person that's behind this. I like the intimacy that's with it and the vulnerability that comes with it. So we'll read this one. March 21st. Trust me and don't be afraid, for I am your strength and song. Think what it means to have me as your strength. I spoke the universe into existence. My power is absolutely unlimited. Human weakness, consecrated to me, is like a magnet, drawing my power into your neediness. However, fear can block the flow of my strength into you. Instead of trying to fight your fears, concentrate on trusting me. When you relate to me in a confident trust, there is no limit to how much I can strengthen you. Remember that I'm also your song. I want you to share my joy, living in conscious awareness of my presence. Rejoice as we journey together toward heaven. Join me in singing my song. Betsy said, thank you. This is great. And I love Jesus Calling. I love it too. There's another one that's called God Calling that I want to get at some point and incorporate it into whatever it is that I do here. So in here, she says, fear can block the flow of my strength into you. Instead of trying to fight your fears, concentrate on trusting me. I think that's something that all of us can truly relate to in the situation that we're on right now, or in right now. There's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of pandemonium, and there's a lot of unknown, and again, I'm sorry that we're talking about this over and over again, but this is our reality today. And, when I get caught into those fears and wondering what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how long is this going to happen, how am I going to pay this, how am I going to take care of that, it brings me to that place that I was at yesterday. It brings me to that dark place where I want to throw in the towel and I want to just say I'm done with it, for a plethora of different reasons. The first reason is that, I just can't emotionally handle all of that. I can't emotionally handle all of the questions and all of the concern and all of the anxiety that comes with wondering what, when, where, how. I can't. But the other part of that is too, I'm an addict and alcoholic, and one of the things that led me out, kept me out, was my fear of, and it blows my mind. Fear blows my mind. I'm afraid of succeeding, but I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of being good enough, but I'm afraid of not being good enough, and when I let those things run rampant in my life, I will go back, I will go back. And like I've said a few times throughout this week that I've been doing this, is it may not be a drink and a drug today. I might go back, but what it's going to look like is behaviors and being angry, that turmoil that lives in my chest and in my stomach, I might not use today. I'm not saying, I don't know either way, but grace of God, I haven't. But for me, most of the time it comes down to anger. When I let those fears run rampant in my life, I get angry. I get angry at myself, everyone in my support circle, for no reason. They don't even know it. They don't even know that I'm angry at them. And I have no reason to be angry at them. I just take it out on whoever's closest to me, and for me, I grew up in a very unstable environment. But I also have been in and out of institutions my entire life. So my go-to is anger and violence. Those are the things that are hardwired in my brain. That if something's going wrong or I'm uncomfortable, I want to act out. I want to violently hurt someone, and I acknowledge that and I work on that today, and thank God that hasn't happened in a very long time. But that's where my brain goes, over the past couple of days, like I've shared with you, I've been open and vulnerable about the fact that I'm just not okay, and my brain didn't go to getting high and using. My brain went to, I want to fight everyone. I hope the apocalypse happens because I want to hurt somebody. It went to, I'd love to hurt myself. I'll torture myself, and all of that is based on fear. All of that, fear that I'm failing in some way, fear that life is going to continue like this for longer than I want it to, whatever that means. Fear that I'm going to be alone, fear that I can't take care of myself or my cat, who has become my best friend and my baby, properly. Fear that I had options to have roommates and I chose to live alone, and now I'm stuck in this alone. I'm stuck in this alone, that's one of my biggest fears. I hate being alone. I hate it. But for me today, like if I don't let those fears go and give them to something else, I will ruminate on them. I will, and I will get in that space in my mind. And I'm not saying I'm going to act on it. I'm not. Most of the time I'm not, thank God. But I will get in that space in my head where I have thoughts and visions of violence. For me, that's my secondary addiction, is violence and being rude and sarcastic. And, a lot of people say my face doesn't look happy, and that's my default setting. My default setting is anger and violence and stoic, because I've been conditioned to do that my entire life. I've been conditioned to keep the wall up and protect myself, and that's something that I work on every single day by doing things like this and reaching out to people that I know and I love and exposing myself, which for me and anybody out there who can relate to it, being in institutions or unstable households growing up, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I'm giving you a piece of me that you could use at a later date to hurt me, but for me today, the reason that I do that, the reason that I put myself at risk is because I know that without it, I won't stay sober. First and foremost, I will not. But I also will not avoid acting on all of those things. If I go and tell my supports how I'm feeling right now, like I am right now, like I have the past couple of days, they're going to talk me down. They're going to talk me through it. They're going to tell me it's okay and that it's normal to feel what I'm feeling. And they're going to bring me back. But if I sit there in here and let it ruminate without praying about it, without talking about it, without any of that stuff, I'm going to act on all of it. I'm going to act on all of it, and God knows how far it'll go. It'll end up in me being hurt, somebody else being hurt, or me being put in an institution, and I know that about myself today, and that's one of the gifts that I've gotten throughout this last 16 months of journey that I've been on since I came home, since I've been in society and been actively working a program of recovery, is like having that self-awareness and knowing all right, I'm thinking about this. Let me do something about it. So I mean, all I can do really is implore all of you to, like, if you're having those fears, to talk about them, and at the same time embrace them. As hard as it is, embrace them. um, I don't want to embrace the fact that I'm alone right now. I don't want to embrace the fact that my finances are scary. I don't want to embrace the unknown of how long is this going to happen, and what's going to happen to our society, and is are people going to start acting crazy on the streets, and what am I going to do in that point? What am I going to do if this? I don't want to embrace any of that. But if I do, if I can just take a moment and embrace it and realize I'm blessed because I have an amazing work crew. I'm blessed because I have time to be with me. I'm blessed because I have the opportunity to connect with people, and do all of these things. It changes my entire perspective, and it changes the outcomes of what's happening in my brain. All of a sudden I'm seeing, friends and connection and the other side of this and what it's going to look like when I go back to work. It changes my entire perspective. If I can just take that one moment, take a step back and change it. And that's one thing I have control over. I talk about the lack of control all the time. We don't have a lot of control when it comes to that kind of stuff. Feelings coming in, chaos going on outside the world. We don't have a lot of control. But what I do have control over is what my brain does from A to B. So the feeling came in, now what? Am I going to ruminate on it? Am I going to think about hurting people? Am I going to what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I have that choice today. Thank God. And I can choose to switch that perception, talk to people, pick up my supports, pick up all those tools that we've been taught for so long that we necessarily haven't used up until now. I know for me, I haven't used a lot of them, but I can pick them up and they're there and they're waiting for me. So I'm running over on time, so I'm going to quickly get into this last one, which is Demi Lovato. And if you've seen any of my other videos, this is my favorite, ultimate favorite out of all of them that I read, because it's raw and it comes from her. It's not edited. It's not, changed, any of that stuff. It's literally her and her perception on what recovery looks like for her. And I'm the type of person that when I saw Demi Lovato, I did not think I could connect in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was a joke. I read one to be funny one day, and it stuck from there. It is definitely a go-to for me. I've been reading it for almost 2 months now. So March 21st. In every community, there is work to be done. In every nation, there are wounds to heal. In every heart is the power to do it. It's a quote from Marianne Williamson. For all the problems, disasters, and tragedies that we hear about daily, it's important to not let such sadness overwhelm and flood you with despair. Where there is dark, there is also light. Sometimes the most beautiful rainbows come from the worst storms. Goal. How can you spread love, hope, and faith to others today? Ask yourself if there's something in particular in your life needing your support. Wow. So this is one of those moments that I'm talking about. When I didn't know what was happening in this book, I didn't talk about it, I didn't prepare for it, any of that stuff, but it's spot on for the things that we are all going through as a community today. Absolutely spot on, and we were just talking about like letting those fears run rampant and being a part of the problem and not the solution. In today's world, there's a lot going on. And we have an option. We can be a part of the problem. We can be a part of the solution. ROCovery Fitness, like we do our best. We're humans. We do our best to be a part of the solution, and that looks like exactly what we're doing now, closing down the facility prior to any of the mandated things coming from New York State, doing outreaches as far as live videos and different things going on. Connecting with people on a personal level, reaching out in any way that we can, and that's us trying to take initiative to be a part of the solution in the long run. It's like, this might hurt right now, but in the long run, how much harm am I causing? How much solution am I providing? So she says in there, ask yourself if there's someone in particular in your life needing your support. Is there? Is there? And for me, I know that there is, and me and one of my friends have talked about this at length. I've gotten to the point where I'm sick of being in the computer, in the phone. I've gotten sick of being on my phone 24 hours a day. I've gotten sick of sitting on the computer. I don't want to at moments. There's times that I just want to disconnect. But at the same time, is there someone in particular in your life needing your support? Just think about that for a minute. Just think about it. And for me, what that looks like are volunteers that are freaking out. And I've had conversations with them, and I've taken the time out of my day to be there for them. Members that also freaking out and they need us and they want us, and we're not there in the capacity that they want us there, but I've taken the time to make those phone calls and be there, even if I don't want to at that moment, because that's being part of the solution. That's not sitting in the fear. That's not me giving in to all of the crap that happens in my brain. I have family members that are severely compromised and really not okay, this is live, but whatever, you guys get raw and real from me. Me and my mom, have been through hell and back. And one of the things with her is a severe codependency, but right now she's not okay. She's scared and she's stuck in her house and she's all of these things. And, I've set boundaries with her. And I love her to death. But my point is, I might not want to because I'm scared. And fear will drive me in the opposite direction. But at the same time, I know she needs me, so I'm there. To the best of my ability on a daily basis, I am there. But one of the things I talked about last night too is taking care of ourselves in the process of that. So I mentioned, there's times that I don't want to be on my phone, or I know it's being too much for me, and that's okay. That's okay too. But I know it's okay to take care of yourself. It is. And you can connect with those people whenever you're at the capacity that you can handle that. But I also know for me, what changed my entire life was service, and being there for other people and putting myself over here for a minute and just thinking about another person. Those things changed my life. Without those things, I wouldn't be here sitting here today. I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't have grown in the ways that I've grown over the past 6-7 months, But I also think that it is important to take care of yourself at the same time. So for me, what that looks like is sometimes I just don't answer things all the time, and maybe half an hour, 45 minutes pass or whatever. There's no set time limit. When I can, I answer, and I'm there for them. But that is another thing that has helped me get through this, helped me stay positive. And with everything going on, all the tragedy, all the chaos, everybody's panicking, the best thing that we can do as a community is just love, compassion, and support, and be there for one another. So I know that I went way over, which I didn't expect to happen today at all. I honestly wasn't sure what I was going to talk about, but again, that's a God moment. That is absolutely my higher power working in my life. So I hope all of you got something from this. Let me check these comments quick here. Brian Quinn, oh my God, I was just going to tell you about a fantastic podcast by Marianne Williamson. Brian, I'd love to hear what that podcast is and listen to it for sure. And James, that was crazy on point. James, I hope you are connecting. I truly do. Stay on our Facebook page, reach out to all of us staff members. We're here for you. And I know that it's not ideal and you don't have the ability to come in at this moment, but please reach out and we will do what we can over the phone, over the computer. I've known you for 20 years, man. Keep your head up and stay strong throughout this. Stay strong throughout this. So that is the end of my segment after some time. Comments, concerns, any of that stuff, please continue to comment on it. We can see it. Post to our page, send email. You can call the center number as well, which is listed on our Facebook page and our website. Reach out to us. And again, I'm going to reiterate, if you guys have any ideas on things that we could do that would be beneficial to you, that would be extremely helpful feedback. We're doing daily meditations, we're doing workouts, and we're doing discussions. But at the same time, if you need anything else, like I said the other day, like I'm willing to do dance parties. I don't care what it is. If you need anything else, please let us know. We do this for you, and it helps us along the way. Maria Monselli, the energy one puts out comes back. I'm a Reiki master, sending out healing energy to you. I'm spiritual, but not religious. I can relate to that, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I've done Reiki once, and it was amazing. And unfortunately, we got shut down shortly after that, so hopefully I can pick that up one day. You're welcome, Mel. Thank you for watching me. And James, again, I hope you're staying strong out there and doing the next right thing, dude. All right. I'm going to go. Keep commenting. Reach out to me. Reach out to me. I see all of the things that come in from the ROCovery Fitness Messenger as well. So if you need me, please reach out. And all of our other staff are also sitting by waiting for things like this to happen. So please reach out, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.